I was not a big podcast person. And I was like, you want to do a what? And wait, what? Tell me more. And I was very, very reluctant. And reality is I allowed you to lead me through my out of my comfort zone.
Influence you. Maybe.
Well played, Kelly Osborn. Well played,
An
my friend.
influencer influencing an influencer.
Welcome to the Hope and Hairspray podcast. I'm Rhodi, Cate.
And I'm Kelly Osborn. Today, we will lead you on a journey of self-development and professional growth. You will be inspired to be the best version of who you were meant to be.
Let's jump in.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. We are so glad you're here.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're glad to be here.
Yeah, always.
Always?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love being in the studio.
I do
with
too.
Josh.
Yes,
He's the best.
absolutely. Absolutely. So we have a little bit of a viewer coachy situation where more people are asking about, we talk about CliftonStrengths here and there, right? So,
and our clients too. So we're getting a lot of questions about them. So we thought we'd do the next few episodes around CliftonStrengths because it really, from an individual perspective, really helps with confidence, helps us understand what we do best and how we can do more of it. And it helps with engagement from a personal and a corporate level. So you're going to hear that tone. We're not going to dive down into individual strengths. There's 34 of them, but we are going to start.
We will if you want to come see us. We will. I would love to talk for days about strengths, but
and we do
for
we
here.
We do. We have a lot of clients that we do that. We do with teams and we do individuals. But for you, for right now, we're going to start sort of at a higher level. Whether or not you've done CliftonStrengths will be helpful. We are advocates of it. If you haven't, it's definitely something to look into. So we have information on our website to look into that. But listen. Hear about the domains and what that means to you and how you show up from a performance perspective. And then if you wait till the near the end, we're going to share with you a digital a little digital
bonus.
Yeah, a digital bonus. That's a good word. I was thinking gift that will help you with kind of talking about identifying your domain, especially if you haven't done CliftonStrengths. So it's going to be a great topic.
Oh, well,
of course.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think it'll be helpful to you is what I'm saying.
Love it. So one thing that might help set the stage is what is CliftonStrengths? So we talk about CliftonStrengths a lot. It is an assessment that is a performance-based tool that builds self-awareness and strength.
Right.
So back in the day, definitely need to find the exact year that it started.
50 years ago, yeah.
So Gallup, they do the world's research, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were finding out that people weren't engaged in their job. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, why is somebody not engaged in what they do? Mm-hmm. And they found that they didn't have the opportunity to do what they do best every day.
Okay.
And they said, how can we change that? Well, they found out people didn't know what they did best.
Right.
So they really spent, 40 years with 11 million work groups, really deep diving into the science, right? They have the data, which I love about CliftonStrengths. They have the research and the statistics to back it up. They created this assessment. And I remember when I was getting certified and my husband, I'm like, would you take the Gallup CliftonStrengths assessment? And he was like, sure, I'll take your little personality quiz. It is not that. Yeah. It is how we get from A. We're going to make it so much easier for you to understand, because what Gallup found out is that there are 34, they boiled the human strengths down to 34 categories. Themes, you'll hear us call them themes, absolutely. Call them talents. But that's a lot to wrap your arms around, right?
Yeah, when you remember all 34, I can't even do that. You know me and my memory anyway. But yeah, that's a lot. So it is nice that they call domains, categories, buckets, themes that play well together, if you will, into one structure. So tell us more.
Absolutely. So with all those, it can be hard to fully understand all 34, right? So the 4 domains help simplify this process.
Yeah.
right? People tend to think about what they don't do well, how to fix their weaknesses, and domains help people understand where they are most powerful and then help them use that power to make their greatest contribution, which I just love that. And it is, as we will talk about a lot, the truth. And the truth about this is self-awareness. Right. You can only be better at what you know you are naturally talented at.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really pulling the layers back and figuring out, because humans, man, we'll hit on this a lot more through our episodes, but we're not very good at just, yeah, I'm really good at that. Well, I guess some people might be, but it's really hard for you. What are you good at? And we all kind of, is this a test? Right?
And some of it comes from, I'm just not confident. Maybe I don't
100%.
Want to brag. I know you talk about that a lot. I grew up, I don't want to brag about myself or anything like that. So the truth is, sometimes it's hard to, you might know it or you might feel it, but you don't want to say it, or you might not feel like you have confirmation or validation. And then the other truth that happens is oftentimes we discount something that comes easy to us because it's a natural talent. It comes easy. So therefore, it must be easy to everyone. So why is it, helpful? And I mean, why is this important? Why am I special? And the thing is, that's one of our truths is we are all special and we all do things that are different than everyone else. I mean, that's what's so great. And one of the reasons we love CliftonStrengths is because it really highlights how everyone is unique and the value proposition that they bring to the table. So think about CliftonStrengths. That's the value proposition that you bring to your organization, to your family, to your friends. And so I got excited. Sorry, I'll back.
Yeah. I'm feeding off your excitement because like the fact is that you were made to do something better than anybody before you or anybody after you. Yeah. Very unique. Right. There's some myths, I think, in our culture. Yeah. We talk about a lot that you need to be well-rounded. Mm-hmm. And some people will have that thought when we go through these domains. Right. Oh, I need to be a little bit of everything. Right. Nope.
It's okay.
Please don't. Please
be
don't.
Who you are.
Right.
Be who you are. Even Josh, he's like earlier today, he's like, hey, we're not made to be well-rounded. We're made to be pointy.
I'm pointy.
He's listening. Right. We love it.
Right. Because he has a theme that's not as common. And him and I actually share that theme as our number one. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about those domains that make up the 4 domain areas. We're going to title them and give a little description of each. Okay. So even if you haven't taken CliftonStrengths, this might be a way for you to start identifying. Rhodi and I, of course, will share how it shows up for us. So that's super fun. So the 4 domains are executing. These are people you can count on to get things done, right? Then there's influencing. These people take charge, speak up, galvanize. Then there's strategic, and they absorb, analyze, create, innovate, and relationship building. They're cohesive. They're the bonding agent. They nurture and build up relationships. So that is the 4. Those are the 4 domains, that we're going to talk about. Yeah. So what do you have? What do you lead with?
Okay. Is that what you want to start with?
Yeah, I would love to know.
So I actually lead with influencing.
Okay.
And what I have seen, I like it, so that's good. That's helpful. I had to learn to like it, but it's helpful, obviously, in what I do. But I've noticed with groups, and we worked with a couple clients in December, and influencing wasn't, I don't know, is it the least?
It is the least.
It is the least common domain. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I lead with it. And so through my communications and winning others over, which is called Woo, kind of puts me into leading with influencing. So tell us more about influencing.
So I also have influencing as number one. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Josh does too, is that it is it's one that you take command. You can get up in front because it has some of the talents that are communication. It's easy for you to express words, but I think there's 8 or 9 talents within this. So it doesn't come out. Your influencing is different than my influencing.
And let's go stop there and like talk about why that happens.
Okay.
Because although there are 34 themes and they roll up into those 4 domains, because the order is different for each individual, the other themes that are around a particular theme makes your theme and or your domain feel a little bit differently, right? And so that's why we are overly unique, even if we share the same themes, which you and I definitely share some themes together. They show up differently because there are other things that are influencing it, and so it's kind of a complete package.
Absolutely. So when you are identifying with some of these, right? And we're going to go on the next episodes, we're going to go deep dive into influencing, executing, relationship, strategic. Right. So let's talk about some of the domains that you have that I don't have.
Okay.
Like how we work together well because of what do you have that I don't have?
Okay. So we share influencing and we lead with influencing. And then when you look and if you do CliftonStrengths or you even think about yourself as you go through and self-identify with each of these domains, and you can think about the feedback you've gotten from other people and what they're telling you, that helps you kind of put you into what domain you are, right? Then you can kind of self-identify, and you might notice, like myself, when we look at CliftonStrengths, we talk about your top 10, and these are of the 34. These are the 10. They might be 12. They might be 9, but they're the top 10 are the ones that are your strengths. And as a result, they indicate your domains. And so we look at what of the top 10 are in your domains. And I have 0, let's put it that way, 0 in the executing domain. So those people that like really get things done and they are focused on that. Does that mean I never get anything done? No. And we'll definitely go deeper on the specific domains. The way I get things done is I have to use another domain. I have to use my relationships to help me get things done. Hello, Kelly Osborn. So I'm definitely missing executing, which happens to be
my number 2.
Yep.
So that is the domain people get things done, right? But we noticed early on, obviously, CliftonStrengths is what brought us together.
It is.
In fact, it was 5 years ago today.
It is today.
That we met at our first conference.
It was our meet cute.
It was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fact. We looked up a picture yesterday. It had a date on it. We always go back and forth on what year it was. I think 2020 just
it's kind of threw us off.
It just puts a gap in there.
And then add the math for me.
Math is not good. But so executing, you count on people to get these people to get things done.
Right. High responsibility, things like that just, where I'm kind of, let's slide into, what other things can we do strategically to make it happen? Yeah.
So when you're working individually, you had mentioned, you dial into your strategic because you set a goal. But what's beautiful about partnerships or personally or professionally is that you can start to spot these things in others if you haven't taken the assessment.
Yeah.
Because I want to bring back, I got all excited when you said, when people say something and give you a compliment, pay attention to that.
Pay attention.
Don't be so quick to dismiss it.
That happened yesterday. We were at
we had a meeting yesterday.
Women's Executive Roundtable, and you were talking to the server because Kelly is all about serving others and creating that great environment. So she always connects to the servers, and she gave her that great compliment. And she just downplayed it and moved on. And I went, "Hey,
nope,
come back.
No, we're coming back. We're going to give it again."
Yeah. You need to hear that. So they do. The compliment thing is definitely they're dismissing it.
Super. Yep. So don't dismiss it. Start paying attention to when people say, "Wow, that was really easy for you," or "How'd you come up with that?" We do it sometimes with math. If somebody adds up a number real quick, we're like, "Wow." And I think those ones are a little easier for somebody to be like, "Yeah, I'm good at math." But when we start kind of really talking about your performance and how you get things done, I think is maybe a little bit, we don't want to brag.
Yeah.
right? So when you're paying attention to that. So in partnerships, when you can flip that switch, which we talk about all the time, to appreciate what you see in somebody else and not so much, oh, they have that. How about they have that?
Well, which is what I did.
Right.
As we looked, and of course, we're CliftonStrengths, Gallup certified coaches, and how we were together. So we, hey, look at my report. Look at that. What are your themes? So we had that conversation very quickly. And we noticed that where my gap of execution or in executing, you had that. And I'm like, hey, this is someone who does something well that I don't do well. How can I learn from you? And how can we collaborate together to be stronger?
And
so that's why I think the domains is really important to understand and know.
Absolutely. So thank the good Lord, because what Rhodi is high in is she has the strategic domain.
I do. Strategic thinking.
My first strategic talent shows up number 12, right? Yeah. And we all get from A to B, right?
That's what performance, right? We're going from A to B.
We're all going to get there.
We'll get there eventually.
Absolutely.
It's the methodology in which we get
there. Might get there faster, but...
High in competition, Kelly, maybe?
Actually, I'm not as much as you would think. Yeah. As much as you would think.
No, you're not actually.
But it's just really, if you can flip that switch to not only stop looking at it in you as a weakness, but turn that on to be like, oh, they have something I don't have that I could use. We could collaborate together on this.
And that's really the hope, right? So the truth is you got to understand where you are. You need to understand yourself and be able to articulate, and we're going to spend some time on this one down the road, because being able to articulate what you do well is important everywhere you go, especially those job seeking or those little seeking to get promotions, those just trying to have a conversation with people. I mean, it's just important, right? But this idea of the hope is really understanding yourself first, so then you can recognize in others, and then you can see the natural partnerships, and you can envision the type of person and life you want. I know I needed that executing. And honestly, 5 years ago in Arizona, where I would never have thought we would be here. I would have never thought we would be here.
Definitely not here.
No, not here, right in this place, because I was not a big podcast person. And I was like, you want to do a what? And wait, what? Tell me more. And I was very, very reluctant. And reality is I allowed you to lead me through my out of my comfort zone.
Influence you. Maybe.
Well played, Kelly Osborn. Well played.
An influencer, influencing an influencer.
Yeah, I see now how that was very nicely done. But that's exactly what happened. And so I would not have the experiences, the fulfillment. I mean, this is, well, we have some fun. Anyway, but I mean, and the ability for us to help. So what happens is, we had a number of team builds in December. You had some, I had some. We didn't do any together that month. It was just a little bit difficult. But now, I mean, that's who's listening. Are those people who were there because they wanted, I want to remember, tell me more about that. Or because it's a lot to learn about yourself quickly. So listening. So this is a great way to learn more, is continue listening to the podcast. So
completely. And so this brings me kind of full circle to when I talked about in the beginning, people being reluctant to taking the assessment, right? They're like, oh, so my husband got his results and he literally sat up straighter and was like, I'm an expert in my field. And like, yes, you're definitely an expert in your field for sure. And it was just,
and here's a doubter. Wait, here's a confident man.
Oh, so smart. I mean, smartest man I know.
Robots to build robots, or what was he do? I don't even know what he does. But he knows so many different things, and he does something that's really hard. Like I can't really understand it. I had to overhear a conversation. I hear a lot of conversations because Kelly and I, when we spend so much time together, about her and her husband talking about the robots they're building, and I just was like, my husband and I definitely don't have those conversations. But so
if you're a doubter, if you're like, that's just another personality quiz, or, just, I can't put just, you know what? Humor us. Just reach out. Let us get you a link. try it.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
give it a shot.
Yep.
But this will help you. We're just going to keep breaking down easier ways to understand your strengths.
Right.
If you don't have the assessment, it's not that big of it's a 45-minute time commitment. So it doesn't take long, but
it doesn't take long, and it's a good thing to do. So, so when you're looking at the 4 domains, and we've talked about the truth of it, the hope is that you really, know yourself and do that. The question now comes down to hairspray. Remember hairspray for us, that is the getting things done, right? That's the ability to actually go from a dream to executing. So for you, from the hairspray perspective, and what we'll have on the website for this episode is for you to help self-identify your domain, right? You're going to be able to read some information and be able to go, oh yeah, I fit more into, and again, the 4 domains are?
So executing, relationship building, strategic, and influencing.
Right. So you'll be able to see which one that you self-identify with. And in fact, we do that at some of ours, not all of them, but some of our team builds, is we have people self-identify, and we put them in corners. It's so great. They go to the 4 corners, and then people have to guess, oh, did they get them right? And then the rest of the team can say, oh, I didn't know. Anyway, so it's a really fabulous way to understand that. But your hairspray will be, spend time reflecting on how you get from A to B, and which of the 4 domains really do you lean into, do you use often, and then what feedback are you getting from people, so you have a self of understanding. You have to start with self. That's just the way it is. And it can be, in this case, from making it happen, the action item, it can be as easy as taking time. But what we don't do is we don't take time to think. Right? We're not the Industrial Revolution anymore. We're an age of thinking with technology. So what does it look like when I'm thinking? So I'm asking the executing person, right? It looks like you're not doing a doggone thing, Rhodi. I'm like, well, you know what?
And sometimes that can happen. There's misperceptions.
There is.
We need to also just put this back out there another time, though, is that these are not labels.
They are not labels. That is
one thing.
No.
CliftonStrengths are not labels. It's just simply mode of transportation. We've talked about that. This is how you get from A to B.
Information, right? To tell you, to help you understand who you are and how you get things done.
Absolutely. So I might take a bullet train. Just get me there as fast as you can, because I'm an executor. I want to get things done. Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to take a hot air balloon. I want to see what options we have. And I'm like, options? There's no plan B, right?
Yeah.
So it's learning to listen to what people say about you in a positive light. These are all positive.
Right.
No domain is better than any other domain.
Right.
But it helps break down when there's 34 talents. It's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
Breaks it down into 4 categories. And that will help you start to understand, even if you just pick up on one. Oh, yeah, I'm a workhorse. And we're going to give out some of those titles on our later episodes about, have you been called this, or do you know somebody who's this? So
it'll help
those
you
will
identify.
be fun to listen to.
Yeah, I think so. So again, just get to our website, hopeandhairspray.com, and look for the episodes. We do have links in there so you can get today's I want to say daily download, but whatever, episode download that tells you, that will help you with this domain. And even if you have taken your CliftonStrengths and your domains, you may want to check it out, because it's going to it just kind of reminds us when we're busy, we get wrapped up in the doing of things, and this helps kind of remind us who we are and how we do things.
For sure. If you do have your CliftonStrengths, go to your full 34 report, your CliftonStrengths report at page 21.
Yep.
I think it's like my favorite page
it is.
To look at, to really, that's just simple. I get things done.
Yeah.
And this, especially if you have a team, it is nice to have all of these domains on one team. Some teams are bigger than others.
Yep.
And that's fine. But when you know it
is a deal. It is a game changer. And that's definitely one of the episodes that's upcoming, is really this, how to use this within a team perspective. We also have we have an episode coming up on the individual. We also have one on the team. We have one on how do you drive your own leadership development, because you know what? We're all leaders. You may not be a manager of people, but you're leading. People are following you regardless of your role or position, corporately or as a small business.
So helpful at home, helpful professionally. And that's what we're here for. So we are so glad you joined us. Tune in next time.